Hey, it's Bruce. So I was online today in the discussions in a music community I'm in, and there was discussion around this emerging artist and his unique style that you wouldn't really expect to be popular, but he's really taking off. And I wanted to talk about it here because it actually shook loose a lot of thoughts that I've been having lately about the industry and trends in songwriting and social content and marketing yourself as a musician. So the guy in question is Hudson Freeman. He's a singer songwriter out of New York, and he's just a young guy writing and playing songs. He uploaded a demo of a tune called If You Know Me. And on the right here, you can see the video is just cell phone video of him in a field playing a song. And it's literally just the demo. It's him playing and singing out in the field to a microphone. The guitar's out of tune and everything. And it's getting hundreds of thousands of plays and being featured on hot and trending playlists. So what's going on here, right? I think that there's a lesson to be learned here and a trend to be noticed. I think that the trend for a long time in mainstream music, at least, has been perfectionism and polish. I think coming out, of the 90s and the 2000s up until recent days, there was this big emphasis on, make it big and bold and fancy and really cook it. I think there are factors for this. I think the first thing is consolidation in the music industry. Major labels did a lot of buying up smaller labels and making them subsidiaries. To me, that kind of makes for a monoculture in music of let's do the big label, highly produced, polished thing because that's what's selling. At least it was for a while. I think the second thing is the increasing emphasis on social media and marketing yourself on socials as an artist, as the idea of releasing a CD or an album and that being the product and that being what pays your way, that's kind of gone out the window. And now it's all about being on socials and getting your metrics up, right? And so there's this emphasis on presenting a polished version of yourself, and doing multiple takes of a video and nailing it and then editing it and color grading it, right, before you put it out. I think the other thing that's going on is the democratization of music technology and music making, hardware and software, has meant that highly produced and polished recordings are no longer just the domain of these major labels. Even a singer-songwriter in their basement can produce a completely realized version of their track with some virtual instruments and things. So it's become relatively easy to do the polished thing. So I think that more and more people did it for a long time. But I think there's a backlash. I think that as the younger generation especially have seen a lot of this polished content, they're starting to feel that it's not genuine or disingenuous even or dishonest a lot of the time. I don't think they're buying it anymore. I think there's this pullback and this gravitation back toward honest, raw content. People want to connect with musicians as real humans, not avatars or like idealized versions of themselves. I think there's a trend for realism, a reactionary trend for realism even. So now we're seeing artists in accounts like this take off, right? If you look at Hudson's Instagram, it's just him playing his guitar to a camera out in a field a lot of the time, right? And it's doing great. Another great example of this you've probably heard of is Jesse Wells, right? He's made news recently for various reasons, but he's very indicative of the trend. He's got 200 posts and over 1 million followers. And a lot of his content is just him standing out in nature, singing to the camera. So I think really ultimately what's happening here is just the pendulum swinging back. It's just the cycle of history. We spent a long time overcooking and overproducing and polishing things and chasing that kind of level of perfectionism. And now there's a longing to kind of go back to simpler times and just see a singer-songwriter and get to know them as a person and be relatable. I think relatable content is what's the thing now. So I want to know what you think, because there are a lot of other angles to this and a lot of perspectives that I don't have that I'm sure a lot of you do, and there's a lot to be said. So sound off in the comments and let me know what you think about lo-fi content taking over right now. Peace.